to get where you want in life, I think everybody needs to self-develop themselves. This actually means improving the expression of ourselves, so our desires, our values, to the extent that we can or want it to be. So not everybody has the ambition or the know-how to get everything out of themselves that they want or should get out of themselves, but we all have the free will to be who we want to be and to grow into the person we like to be. I think that's very important, because in many countries or continents, this is not the case. Like, people are a product of their community and environment, but the sense of what you want to be gets lost in there. Everybody's just working to get around, to make money, to provide for their families. But I think we are in a very privileged position that we are able to express ourselves to the fullest, or trying to extend ourselves to the fullest expression possible. I'm still thinking about if it should be the extent that we want it to be, or that I want it to be, or that it should be the extent that our community wants or needs to be. But I'm fairly sure it's like somewhere in between. You cannot give everything or express yourself the fullest for your community, because then you would not achieve your personal goals or your personal ideas in life. And if you only achieve your personal ideas or goals in life, then you can never attribute towards something useful for your community and help others grow in their journey to become whoever they want to be. So in that sense, I think self-development also correlates with development of your community, but I'll get to that later. Where does this self-development start? It all starts where everything starts for us, and that is right in our comfort zone. We all somehow, hopefully, have found our comfort zone in life. This is different for everybody. Not everybody has the same comfort zone. We all want to be in our comfort zone at a different period of time, blah blah blah. We all know this zone where we feel comfortable, and we don't have to hide or feel bad about who we are. We can just be glad that we are alive, that we're doing these things that we are doing, and that we are achieving the things we want to achieve. So we identify which rocks we want to keep, how this comfort zone looks and feels, which preferences we have in life, what we stand for, what we admire, and what we strive for. So basically, our goals, our aspirations, and who we are as a person, they all lay within this comfort zone, mostly. Like, I would say you have to be in your comfort zone. This is just me now guessing on the spot, but I would say 25% to 30% of the time, I think we are supposed to be in our comfort zone. I don't know how you guys think about it, but I think for me, that's the goal, where I want to be when I am on the peak of my productivity or creativity, whatever you want to call it. So it mainly involves thinking and identifying and analyzing our own behaviors and thoughts. And this is usually, I would say, relatively easy, because we are in our comfort zone, we have the time, we know who we are, and we just now have to pinpoint it to certain aspects of our life. What do we like? Why do we like it? And why do I do it this way? How we feel about things and the way our brain thinks. This is also in line with what we know about ourselves. If you know how you're gonna react to something negative, then you can already think about how you're not gonna be reacting to that negativity, because you already identified that thing as being negative to you. So in that sense, you can, how I would say it, like, pre-rationalize already the experience that's gonna happen. So you can already imagine what's gonna happen, how you would normally react, and then you can start making up an idea of how you actually want to react and how you maybe should, quote unquote, react. So some of us never bother it with. Some people never want to, or never get to know themselves fully. Others only think about it. They never stop thinking about how they should or shouldn't be. And to be fair, I think I was one of the latter ones. But as I'm growing, I realize it's not only about thinking, there's also a lot of action that should be involved. I get to that later, but I'm still in the first part, identifying or explaining it now. So it is a mind journey that takes us to our core, basically showing us how our brains are wired, and how we react to certain situations or how we behave in certain situations. But generally speaking, we should all be able to identify traits, behaviors, thoughts, and values that do and do not resonate with ourselves. So things that we can stand behind and say, this is really what I believe and stand for. And we can also identify things like, hey, this is totally not okay. I don't want to be any part of this. So we are labeling these aspects of our life with positive and negative emotions, actually, or feelings. Once we have delved enough, we become quote unquote aware of who we are. And I think this is not the quote unquote woke things, but this is the first step. So it's actually being aware of who you are, not how the world works or not how other people are, but yeah, getting a map of yourself. Like if somebody says this to me, I probably would not like it, but I can respond this way. Or if I have a bad day, I would do this. It's basically just mapping. It doesn't involve being or growing or being a better person. It's not none of that. It's just realizing who you are and who you aren't. So what does this create? This creates kind of a division in what you stand for and what you don't stand for. So obviously some things resonate, some things don't. These things that resonate with you, you will identify as healthy things, things that are associated, that can be associated with you, things you want to associate with. And then you have the other things that doesn't resonate with you, and they become these toxic kind of issues. And usually this manifests itself in a toxic versus healthy kind of situation. You try to push out everything that's toxic in your life, and you try to implement as much healthy things in your life. And this can be a good way of initially living, I would say. Eliminating toxicity in your life can always be some useful thing, but I'm kind of believing that we need some kind of toxicity in our life in order to grow to a future that involves everyone's, or it sounds kind of cliche, but then a future that is more than just a more better future for me. Like it's a better future for humanity or for the society or community that we are in. And I think that became way more value than I thought before. So where were we at? Once we are past this stage, we get to the next stage, and this happens when we delve too deep. We start thinking too much about what I want, what I stand for, and you kind of place your own desires and needs to express yourself above anything else, above the needs of your community, above the desires of your community. And it's kind of weird, because in a sense you should always do that. I am a proponent of, how do you say it? I believe in that we all should prioritize our own lives. You should always be the main character in your own life, these kind of cliche things. But I also believe that in order to be the person you can be or will be, you need to have the best environment you can or will have. And this involves actually shaping and creating your own environment and take active part in that. That's something I haven't done too much in my life before. So I think it's an area I'm really behind in, and I would need to foster and give more attention and time to it. So it becomes more, well, if you don't value or desire or appreciate the desires and values of your community, it becomes more a conflict of opinions. Like somebody believes one thing, a friend of yours or somebody close to you believes something else, and you cannot identify with them because they do not believe the same thing. So it's a bit them versus us mentality, but this is only with the parties involved. So you can imagine, like, not everybody is always on your side and not everybody is always against you. It's kind of, on certain areas you're against them or like not agreeing with them, and on other areas you're totally fine with them. It is better already than the toxic versus healthy situation, but I think there's still room to improve. So I want to highlight this because we all have different genes, we all have different environments, we all have different experiences and different personalities. So I think even statistically speaking, it is impossible, I would say. Like you can say impossible in statistics, but I would probably say it's impossible for two persons to agree on every single thing they believe or stand for or want to achieve in life. I think everybody somehow, some way, some kind, sometime disagrees with another person. It's just part of life, and if you want to ignore or say they are wrong every time you came across this will be a very sad life. I think you will not get any wiser because you only believe in your own knowledge, and you will only grow from the ideas and concepts that you stand for, and this is good, but it's also very limited. So as I said before, everybody is limited to their environment, and even if your environment doesn't agree with you, you cannot even imagine how other environments would be. How would your question or your concept hold up in India or in China? These are two totally different worlds, and the way we think and see things might be working for us, but it's not something general, not some concept that everybody can stand behind. And ultimately you're looking for these kind of truths, something that everybody can hold true and everybody can say, oh look, I'm behind this idea or this concept that you're promoting. So in that sense, I think it's important to also embrace negativity or toxic opinions. Maybe that's not a good word, but basically contrasting opinions in you, someone that's not agreeing with what you're saying and hearing what they have to say. So to elaborate this a bit more, I want you to picture this. If we define a person by the way their brain is wired or the expression of their genes in their environment, pure biologically speaking, one single person would already have more possibilities of brain wiring. So let's say I have 5 neurons in my brain. Each neuron can be linked to one of the other neurons, so that's 5 times 2, so 25 possibilities of how these 5 different neurons can be connected with each other. But if we do this for all our neurons in our brains, we would have more possibilities of which neuron links to which neuron than there are atoms in the observable universe. So it's a number we cannot even comprehend because it physically does not exist, this number. It's not something you can count or that you can, like if you say something is 1000 kilograms a ton, it seems kind of elusive and difficult to comprehend, but you can still imagine something like a car-shaped object that is around the same size and it weighs 1000 kilograms. But imagine something that has more possibilities than atoms in the observable universe. It's just, I don't think persons can ever be the same in life. And then we're not even talking about environment and genes, but yeah, that's beside the point. So the idea here is that if we go on this way, we believe in ourselves, we do the things we stand for, we create these shutters on ourselves. We become like this horse with a shutter on, and we can only look what's ahead of us and focus on that, and it might give us satisfaction if we reach it, but in the end goal, we don't know what's going around us. We don't know what other possibilities there were for us to choose from. So I think this one directionality is very, very limited in what kind of fulfillment it can give to us. So the next thing I want to highlight about these shutters is that it's something that gets put on unconsciously with us. So we are stuck in our loop, we are stuck in our way of thinking, and we create these shutters on our own. But to actually get them off, you have to actively choose to put them off. It's like saying, no, today I'm not gonna react in the way I am. I'm just gonna sit back, listen, hold myself, and think of what others would react to or what others would trigger. And I think this way we can acknowledge that everybody has shutters on. No single person is not shuttered by something. Everybody has some kind of blind spots or whatever you want to call them. And the funny thing is though, when you take off the shutters, I think, like, I'm preaching something I probably have not reached yet. I don't know if it's even worth doing that, but I like talking about it. I was busy yesterday night writing about this. So if we take off these shutters, we actually realize there are other horses next to us, pulling on the same wagon, going for the same like-minded goal, but they also have shutters. And that's what's funny, because we all are blindly going, or with one idea only going to one goal, but instead we all pull the same wagon. We all are part of each other. If one is struggling, we can help that horse to get on, catch quickly. So in order to achieve that goal, that one goal we set for ourselves, we can actually achieve it with others and be like, hey, we can do this together. We don't have to do it alone. How are you gonna plan to tackle this problem or take on this goal? And I think that's the important part here, acknowledging that we all share similar difficulties and similar goals within life. Most of us wants to become rich. It's not something, oh, this one person is gonna become rich. No, usually a group of friends become rich. Like, people that attract other people like-minded would create ideas that are worth paying money for, and that are innovative, and that are like changing the world or the concept that we live by. And I think that is something you cannot achieve alone, or like maybe some people can, but the probability of you doing it alone is very low. And instead, if you are surrounded by a good environment, with good friends, with people that have like-minded ideas, the ability and the probability of you actually making something worthwhile is way higher. Yeah, so now I want to use another analogy. So instead of this toxic versus healthy mindset, the them versus us, it becomes more of a question of Noah building an ark with some kind of big flood prophecy. It's not a question about am I gonna survive it. It's more a question about how many people can I take on, and who is quote unquote worth saving here. I do want to elaborate this, because I say worth saving, and I guess some people would be like, oh, everybody is worth saving. No, some people actively are refusing to be saved, and they're basically drowning themselves. You should not be able to. You should not waste your time or energy on such people, like people that don't want to be saved or don't want to be progressing towards a better future are not worth going after. There is a important distinction, because it's not something that is built instantaneously. An arc is a big boat. It's something you work on year after year. So some people seem not worth saving, but after a few years or something, they might become worth saving. But I'm really talking about the ones that you have tried to save and save and save, and they just let you down. You have expectations for them, and at some point you have to stop have expectations for them, and then it even becomes worse. Like, they just have a free game of doing whatever they want, and it doesn't help you, and it doesn't help them. So I want you to, yeah, if I say worth saving, I want you to think of it like somebody being mentally flooded. I'm not saying let people die physically. But it's more these mental floods, and it's something that everybody struggles with. It feels like there is like a race going on, and everybody is competing, and you cannot even realize if you're in front or behind, because these concepts don't really exist. Like, these concepts of I'm behind this other person, or this guy is 18 years old and he's already making way more money than I ever was. These are just concepts within our own matrix. Like, the matrix is not something that is created by the government. It's something that we create for ourselves. It's the literal definition of a matrix is that it is a frame of reference that we put up to make sense for ourselves. Like, everything we do and think of are things made for us to comprehend it. And that's why there is not one general matrix. No, people put themselves in their own matrix and think of it like everything is meant to be this way, and I am just meant to behave this way. But it's not. Like, we're all neons of our own matrix. I'm gonna be with the cliches forever, but one day I can make Insta quotes about them and make a lot of money. No, I'm just kidding. So instead, we can focus on the ones around us that are worth saving, the ones that do seem to have this bigger picture that also involves you or me or whatever, the people they have around them. It's not something momentarily, but something you build across the years, or across a span of years. Like, I don't know, I think I used to know it, how long it took for Noah to build this ark, but I can imagine it was not in a week. So some start building their ark very early. Some might wait a bit until they're older, until they're more settled down and comfortable in their lives. Others might never start, and when the flood comes, they are the first ones to be like, damn, I cannot take this anymore. So there will come a day which is different for everybody, that the water is gonna start to rise. We all have to sail out, and who you're taking with you and how many you can take with you is all up to you. About preparation, about taking action, and about going after what you want. So the ones you will bring on your boat, the ones that you put action in, put energy in, are the ones that are going to be sticking around with you, if they're not this first type of people, or this other type of people that don't want to be saved. Because there will happen multiple floods in our lives. Like, I can assure you, everybody probably has had a flood before. If we are a child, in our childhood, we experience very different environments and new experiences almost every day. So we cannot identify, or we don't know enough about ourselves to know who's gonna be sticking around and who we want to stick around. So in essence, there already have happened some floods. That's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. And when you're young, you don't know that. You don't know that you're gonna lose these friends in the next year. You think, oh, this is gonna be forever. But that's just how it is. So yeah, I probably skipped a lot of things here. I'll just skip to my goal. So my goal is to build a new type of arc. I usually did not have a very big arc. was kind of self-sufficient. I got my own timber, I built my own wood, whatever. I built my own boat, and some people that did not have a boat might have been able to come on my boat, but I guess for that moment I have sailed pretty much alone in the first floods I had in my life. But now, yeah, the idea for me is to build a bigger boat, something I'm not familiar with, and that's actually oversizing. It's the concept of overshooting or overachieving your own goal by putting in extra work to make it worth for, I don't know how to say this, but it's overshooting your own goal so that you do not even realize what's gonna become of it. You don't know if it will be anything extra than the people you want to be, or that all of a sudden there are multiple people that you are bringing along that you did not know you would want to save. I don't know, but it's just what I want to try. And I don't even know if there's gonna be a big flood anymore, but it's like the prophecy. You don't know until it's there. You cannot be sure that it will happen, but if you don't prepare, you will die. Like, if the prophecy comes true, of course. But yeah, that's just an analogy. There's obviously not a real prophecy about big floods.